Hello and welcome to Take Time. I'm your host Patrick Marlette, and today we have another Don't Buy video where we play devil's advocate with everyone's favorite watch. Today we're having a look at just one of many redesigns, the Orient Bambino version 1. This is touted as a must-have dress watch, but I'll argue that your money is better saved and spent on the Orient Bambino's counterpart, the Seiko Cocktail Time, or better yet, anything else. Now, I have spoken on the Seiko Cocktail Time multiple times here on the channel, and I'll encourage you to go into my backlog to check those videos out. But while the Seiko Cocktail Time has a beautiful through line with their mainline collection and that gorgeous dial aesthetic they have, the Bambino has tried every look under the sun to sell you on it, with not one, not two, but 5 separate dial layouts for this watch. Now here we have a watch that is trying way too hard and coming up short every time. Before I begin the video, I'd like to personally thank Justin M. for sending his personal Orient Bambino my way. I really appreciate the opportunity to take this watch in and review it. As I've mentioned to you, Justin, I'm going to let you guys know now, I've owned one in the past. I owned a gray dial version 3. It's the stick dial configuration, the most bland option, I might add. I thought it looked good at the time. Alas, I don't own it anymore. So thank you, Justin, for sending this one out my way. So here is a watch with so much potential. This second generation version 1 measures 40.5 millimeters in diameter, 47 millimeters from lug end to lug end. It's 11.8 millimeters thin to the tippy top of that crystal and features 21 millimeter lug widths. It's presented in a stainless steel case with a mineral top crystal, a movement that both hacks and hand winds, and features a date over by the 3 o'clock. Any of the Orient Bambino versions can be had for a little over $100, frequently on sale or found used. Now, what makes the Bambino special, to Orient at least, is the fact that every Bambino features a highly domed crystal and domed dial. Well, let's talk Bambino. The domed crystal here is unnecessarily tall. Arguably, the crystal's height is the Bambino's worst feature. Why? What the Bambino has above any other watch in this price range with this feature set is the fact that it could be an extremely thin, affordable dress watch. Could being the operative word here. Now, plenty of dress pieces come in at around 12 millimeters thick or thinner. The Bambino's case sans crystal is roughly 8 millimeters thin. Now, a lesser dome instead of this protruding 4 millimeters out would make this an extremely interesting proposition. However, as Orient proudly states, every model of the Orient Bambino features this domed crystal. Domed crystals like this do wonders when highlighting intricately detailed dials. But when you have something as sterile as a dress watch, it does nothing more flattering than distorting an hour marker or two. Keep the domed dial, but make the watch even thinner. That would do this piece wonders. There are a few reasons the Orient Bambino is so cheap. Here's just one. The leather strap this comes with, you guessed it, is not amazing. Justin was kind enough to lend the Orient Bambino out to me on this lovely Hirsch leather strap. Now, to confirm, it is worlds better. Another cost-cutting measure is the quality of the components, particularly as pertains to the dial. The markers, though labeled as applied by many retailers and reviewers, appear to be embossed, and you can see what I mean if you look over by the 9 o'clock where I'm illuminating them. If you look around the outer edges of those markers, you'll notice that they tend to rise to greet those hour markings. This is a hallmark of a dial that has been embossed. Now, what this does is it cheapens the look, sadly, but it's also very distracting when you're taking in a minimalistic dial aesthetic such as that as the version 1 here. They say they're applied, I'm certain they're applied. However, how they manage the application just looks very cheap. And it's very apparent when you're taking this watch in broad daylight. The way the dial distorts around those hour markings just feels and looks very cheap. Another detail that shows a lack of consideration is the date wheel. Every model features a white date wheel. despite the coloration of the dial. Nothing was made to match. They just decided that white would be the best look on every model variation. It would not have been hard to get matching date wheels to match the overall aesthetic of the Orient design variations, and should have been a consideration. As with many of these dials, the white date wheel clashes. While the finishing on the case is fine, the lug design is decidedly obtuse. Their blunt 21mm width and styling do little more than hold a strap down. These details should be sharp and eye-catching. Instead, they're made sterile to match the many dial variations of the Orient Bambino. Also, 21mm? One, they look wide and not well in proportion with the rest of the case, and two, 21mm? When you'd otherwise have a strap laying around for this piece on receipt, Orient is making you buy a special one just for this watch. These would look far better on a 20mm strap, and the convenience of it would be greatly appreciated from your customer base. If you see these on the used market with a string of 21mm strap options and tote, it's because no one needs 21mm straps for any other watch. Speaking of style, and you know it's bad when you have to make 5 separate versions to hopefully capture the attention of just one potential buyer. But what is up with the cursive, water-resistant text over at the 6 o'clock? Every model, aside from those with a sub-seconds hand over at the 6 o'clock, thank God, have the water-resistant text on the dial as if it was a main selling point. Honestly, that's one of the details that ruins this watch most for me. I don't care that my dress watch is water resistant. Also, the actual water resistance rating is nowhere to be seen on this case, though this particular case is rated at 30 meters water resistant. So go ahead and swim with it, I guess. Here's the thing with the Orient Bambino, and this is what kills me most about the Bambino. Here we have a watch with so much potential, but it is stunted by poor design choices in terms of the overall dimension of this watch, as well as the confused aesthetics of the different dial variations, as well as the fact that it is a watch that often sells itself short. Orient, you have a really good product here. Maybe your through line should be a domed dial with a thin case that features an automatic hacking and hand winding movement, instead of this bulbous 40+ millimeter dress watch we're getting here. Redefining what the Bambino is to that, instead of just being the beginner's dress watch, would truly make this offering unique. Now, I know I'm going to hear folks crying about it in the comments section down below. It's a very affordable watch. If it feels cheap, well, maybe that's because it is cheap. I get it. But Orient, you can do so much better. I love the rest of your watches. Bring this one up to speed with everything else, and I think you're going to have a lot more people happy with this product. As a matter of fact, a lot less of these will show up on the used market, and perhaps you can sell them for just a little bit more. This is what I mean by selling yourself short. Even on their own website, they have sales for these for just a little over $100. Again, I think you're offering something truly compelling here, but because you devalue the product, so does your customer base. I think this could be a much better watch with those minor improvements. If you found this video enlightening or in the least entertaining, feel free to hit that like button. It looks a whole heck of a lot like this guy. If you have friends, forums, or groups that are interested in picking up the Orient Bambino, well, maybe share this video with them first so they can get another consumer's opinion on the piece. Now, I know a lot of folks out there will just outright say, if you need a dress watch, buy the Bambino. Well, they're wrong, okay? It's okay to spend X amount of money on a watch, yes. If you need a dress watch, this is a good way to go, I guess, but I'll always advise you save your money for something more. Perhaps a Seiko. Yeah, that's a good choice. Also, if you're new to the channel, well, welcome. I do videos like this 2 or more times a week, so if watch content is your thing, feel free to slam that subscribe button, and while you're down there, you can hit the little bell icon just next to that to be alerted as to when my videos air. Again, my name is Patrick Marlette, and thank you for the time.